Hello and welcome. Today we begin with our show with the hopes of peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, as it has signed a peace framework with the Rwanda-backed M23 rebels, who have captured mineral-rich cities in the country's east. The new deal, called the Doha Framework for a Comprehensive Peace Agreement, was signed at a ceremony in Qatar. It was attended by officials from both warring sides and the representatives from mediating nations, the United States and Qatar. The DRC government said the framework has 8 chapters. These include the freeing of prisoners by both sides, humanitarian aid, the return of displaced people, protection of the judiciary, and monitoring the ceasefire. Meanwhile, the M23 delegation said the agreement didn't have binding clauses and would not change the situation on the ground. It added that the deal contains text on the root causes of the conflict. The rebel group said these causes will be negotiated before reaching a comprehensive peace agreement. Even though a new framework for peace has been signed, US President Donald Trump's envoy to Africa cautioned that the entire process would take time. He called the signing a launch pad for the truce process.
Yes, people were expecting to see probably some immediate results on the ground, but this is a process, and there are many, many angles to it. So this will take time, hopefully not too long, but we have to allow time, we have to give the chance for the parties to work through these mechanisms.
Qatar has lauded the agreement as historic and said that 2 out of 8 protocols have already been signed, while implementation mechanisms for the remaining would be negotiated in the coming days. Doha added that mediators would continue efforts to achieve peace on the ground.
The 2 parties will also agree that the government will establish an independent committee to promote reconciliation, emphasize accountability for crimes, and make recommendations on appropriate compensation within the framework of the transitional justice process.
The latest signing ceremony followed a series of agreements signed in recent months, including one in July and another in October, which involved monitoring of a subsequent ceasefire. But it failed as both sides accused each other of breaking the truce. The path to the July deal was laid by a truce deal between the governments of DR Congo and Rwanda in June. Kinshasa seeks the withdrawal of Rwandan troops from its territory. However, Kigali says that the troops are deployed for security purposes, claiming that it could open once the Congo-based FDLR rebel militia linked to the 1994 Rwanda genocide is disbanded. The M23 conflict in DR Congo has been going on for more than a decade. The group took up arms again at the end of 2021 and seized swathes of the eastern part of the country. The rebels, with the support of Rwanda, seized key cities Goma and Bukavu and went on to make gains across North Kivu and South Kivu provinces in January. The surging violence has triggered a spiralling humanitarian crisis and has killed and displaced thousands of people. Well, for more on this, we have with us Stella Agara, who is a governance and security analyst from Nairobi. Thank you, Stella, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's first look at a comment made by the US. They say that this deal will still take time to be enacted. Is there a risk that it falls apart completely?
I think let me first acknowledge that it's a breath of fresh air to get any news from any conflict that there is a peace framework or peace agreement of some sort that has been signed. We do recognize that the process in DRC or between DRC and M23 has not been concluded, but at least the fact that 2 parts of the agreement have already been signed is progressive. Now, considering the hostility from both sides, and I think, Joshua, you have reported effectively that there are threats from both sides, including the fact that M23 is saying that there are certain components that have not been included. It basically means in between, as the work continues, there could be some hostilities that may arise as a result of either the negotiations, which they have promised will happen within 2 weeks for the remaining 6 protocols, or within the period if some other conflict matters arise. The truth is that what is being fought over in that region is mostly the resources, and the interest for those resources continue to exist. And for this reason, it's very risky to drag on negotiations. I think it would have been better if all of this could have been done in a much faster way and permanent agreements be reached. But this is the nature of peace agreements. I mean, there's a huge risk of falling apart. We also have to put into consideration that there is a third force in all this. It's not just about M23 and DRC, but we also need to look at the undercurrents in this conflict and the people who want to benefit from this. It's in the interest of the merchants of war for this conflict to continue as long as they do, because for as long as this country is in war, those merchants of war will continue to benefit and continue to enrich themselves.
Yes, and Stella, building on that, you of course mentioned resources, but what else do the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels want, and also the DRC, in this conflict, and how could that impact the peace proceedings?
Let me start with the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels. This is actually Rwanda flexing in order to be able to continue accessing the resources from DRC. If you are a nation that, like Rwanda, that did not have any minerals, does not have much that they need to sell to the world, they only sell services most of the times, you definitely be looking for a way of survival, you definitely be looking for resources. So they also have a huge interest in the resources in the area. They definitely are looking for control over the minerals, or at least control over the space where the minerals are. Unfortunately, they choose not to trade or negotiate, but they choose to take it by force. They are interested in wealth accumulation for purposes of sustaining their nation, but also wealth accumulation because there are certain individuals, businessmen, majority of them capitalists, who are also sponsoring some of these activities, and they want to continue benefiting from the war. DRC is interested in controlling their own minerals. DRC has spoken unequivocally and said they're interested in nationalizing their minerals and their national resources in order for it to make money for the nation. DRC wants access to the business end of these minerals without having to compete with external interests that come to fight for those resources and sell them, especially in the black market. DRC wants to be able to control resources for the nation and for the posterity of the nation, and to be able to actually have a nation that looks like it's functioning. It's an error for a nation that is this wealthy to be struggling to find even money for holding elections, to be struggling to feed their people. DRC as a nation also needs to pay their benefactors. You will note that when the US came into this conversation, they said that they are going to support DRC on condition that they will get minerals in exchange. So DRC definitely needs these minerals in order to be able to pay for the services that they're receiving or the protection that they're receiving from the US now. DRC also needs to protect its people and the human rights of the people in their nation. As a government, they have a responsibility to do that, and you only do that if you have resources to maintain the defense system that will protect them.
Yes, and Stella, of course, we've spoken about the M23, we've spoken about the DRC government, but let's now finally end with the people, the civilians. How important is it for those living in war-torn regions in the eastern DRC that peace is achieved and achieved soon?
Joshua, I'm glad that you're asking this question, and probably this is the most important question in this entire conversation. The first thing that the people of DRC need is basically the ability for self-determination. Are they able to participate in an election to choose their leaders? Are they able to decide the rules by which their nation will be governed by a constitution of their own, by rules that they create for themselves? Are they able to have an identity? Because every time there's a conflict, many of them are displaced. Majority of them do not have a place that they call a permanent home because they have to keep on moving. The people of DRC are looking for comfort. If you're that wealthy, if you have that kind of mineral resources, then they should be able to enjoy the kind of lifestyle that kind of resources should afford them. Unfortunately, somebody else in this world is enjoying that lifestyle, and the people of DRC are not enjoying it. The people of DRC are looking for wealth. They're looking for enjoyment. There are people who love entertainment a lot, and they would have loved to use those resources to build a very comfortable life for themselves. They're looking to nurture families. Joshua, it's very difficult to give birth to children in such a place because you don't even know if they're going to be able to live to their full time. You don't even know if they're going to be able to have a livelihood or be in that nation for as long as conflict continues. So these people are definitely calling for a time when DRC will be allowed to live in peace. The people of Goma, the people of North Kivu and South Kivu will be able to live in peace despite the resources that they continue to carry on behalf of their nation and this continent. They are also looking for that security that comes with knowing that they're living in a peaceful place and that there's not going to be any form of insurgency. The last thing that those people are looking for, and I'm glad that this peace framework is talking about, is reparations. They have been attacked severally, they have lost a lot of property, they have lost lives, and they're looking for truth, they're looking for justice, and they're looking for the culprits of the war to be punished for the crimes that they have committed against them.
Yes, absolutely, Stella. Of course, positive momentum towards eventual peace, but still uncertainty on the ground. Thank you so much for your time and your insight.
Thank you for having me.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.